I am mic'd, and we're going to try recording all of the lessons that we teach in here so that we can replay them. We can hopefully at some point put them on the internet, that kind of stuff. Are we good? Wonderful. Alrighty, so if you have your notes, grab them out, start taking notes here. Tonight we're going to be talking about lesson 3 of our series called Stop Being Lukewarm. We've talked about a couple of things, how we can stop being lukewarm. Tonight we're talking about offering, talking about giving an offering. So throughout the night we're going to be in a couple of different verses. Most of them are going to be on the board or on the PowerPoint, so you guys won't have to necessarily look them up. But if you'd like to look them up, use your Bibles as well. Alrighty, so we've been talking about what the word lukewarm means. It's kind of a tricky word at some points. So somebody give me a brief definition of what lukewarm means. Josephine. You like a what? Okay, it could be a Sunday or Wednesday Christian. Okay, okay. Okay, I like that, going through the motions, doing godly things, okay? That's right. So, you brought up my macaroni and cheese, so I'll do that again, all right? So those of you that have no idea what we're talking about macaroni and cheese, I'll tell you quickly. So let's imagine that you are super hungry right now, which you might be, and if you are, then this is going to be even worse for you. So, imagine that you are making macaroni and cheese. You love macaroni and cheese. Even if you don't, you love it tonight, okay? And you are going to put it on the boiler, and you're going to cook your macaroni and cheese, all right? You are going to want to cook your macaroni and cheese on the highest heat. You're going to want to turn it up to like a 9 or a 10 if your oven goes up that high. Either way, you're going to turn the heat all the way up so that your noodles get cooked really quick. They're nice and soft, so you can put the cheese in there. They're nice and yummy, and you eat them, and they're just perfect, okay? And you love them, and you eat the whole box twice, okay? Then, a lukewarm thing would be, so you're going to turn that burner on for your macaroni and cheese, and you're going to put it to like a 3. All right, a 3 out of 10. And you're going to sit there for hours as your huge pot of water starts to try to boil, and you're going to dump your noodles in there, and you're going to sit there for a while longer. And it's going to be like 2 hours later, and you're still going to be super hungry, and you haven't eaten yet, and you're going to say, finally, all right, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to eat the noodles. You're going to strain the water, you're going to put all the noodles in there, and you're going to take a bite, and the noodles are going to be like crunchy and nasty and hard and not good, okay? Some of you may have done this before, and you've taken a bite, and it's like hard noodles, and you're like, oh, gross. And then you put the cheese on there, and the cheese falls off, and it's just a mess, okay? That's lukewarm. That's cooking your macaroni and cheese lukewarm. You don't want to eat your macaroni and cheese when it's cooked lukewarm. It's nasty. It doesn't taste good, and you'll never eat macaroni and cheese again. You want to cook it on that high level so that macaroni and cheese is perfect, and it tastes yummy, and you eat it lots, okay? That's just like us. We don't want to be the guys that are half in. We don't want to be the guys that only go through the motions, because that gets us nowhere. It tells other people that we don't really care. We go to school and people are like, I thought you went to church. Why are you acting like that? And you do stuff like that and people question, okay? That's what a lukewarm Christian's like. They're like those nasty noodles, okay? And as Jesus says in his word in Revelations, he says if you are a lukewarm Christian, he'll spit you out because he doesn't want somebody that's half in. He wants a full-hearted. He wants you in the game. He wants you dedicated, okay? So tonight, our lukewarm profile is about offering, okay? Last week we talked about going to church. This week we're talking about offering. So look up on the board. Stop being lukewarm. So you can take out the first question on your sheet, and it says, how often do you give an offering? And you have a couple of options that you can circle. You can say every Wednesday and every Sunday, most Wednesdays and most Sundays, some Wednesdays and some Sundays, rarely on Wednesdays or Sundays, or never. This is between you and God. I'm not going to look at them. I frankly don't care what your answer is. pick what you think fits you best. How often do you give an offering? Whatever you think. You answer it with you, yourself, and God. Yes? You need 3. Travis, can you grab, or TC, grab 3? Well, nobody ever was telling us that. Make sure you do both sides this time. Hit 1 and 2. All right, so those of you that don't have a worksheet, that's okay. You can look on with your neighbor for now. You'll have time to fill it in later. So fill out that question, and we'll get moving on here. If you don't know what an offering is, that's okay. That's the next question. What is an offering? Well, according to the online dictionary, an offering is something that is given to God as a part of a religious worship. That's what the online dictionary says an offering is. So, something that you give to God. Does it say anywhere in there that it has to be money? Does it? No. It does not say it has to be money. So if you have that thought that you have to give God money for an offering, that's not necessarily the case. Okay? That's what lots of people put it to, tithing. Lots of people think that's the only way of giving back to God. That is one of the ways. What does the Bible say about offering? 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7 is on the board, so you don't have to look it up. It says, each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. Okay? You notice how it doesn't say everybody has to give 10%? Everybody has to give $100. Does it say that? What does it say? Right. It doesn't give us amount. It doesn't say how much we have to give. Okay? It says that you have to decide on it in your heart. Okay? And we'll talk about that a little bit later, what that really means or what that looks like. But according to this, there's not a set figure that you have to give. Proverbs 3:9. Honor the Lord with your wealth and with your first fruits of all your produce. Okay? I don't see any farmers in here, is there? Anybody out there growing their own? Okay, we got Caleb here. I knew that. Okay. Woo. Okay. You grew a little bit of grass. Wonderful. You put that little cup on your windowsill and you had that little grass sprout up for like a couple days and then it died because there's no other nutrients for it and then you were sad and you threw it away. Okay? All right, so most of you are not making a living off of farming and you're not growing hundreds of acres of corn or beans or anything else. So the first fruits to you mean absolutely nothing. Okay? But back in the day when they grew their own vegetables and they grew their own food, this was huge. God wanted them to give a portion of the things that they made and they grew back to God. And God said, if you gave that to me, even if you didn't have anything, give your portion to God and he would give you back that stuff. Okay? It would be a little difficult if you and your family were starving and you still had to have that faith to give God his portion. Okay? That would take a lot of faith to not be able to feed your family because you were faithful in God and giving him that food. Okay? Psalms chapter 4, verse 5 says, offer right sacrifices and put your trust in the Lord. You got trust in God that he's going to provide for you. Okay, and we'll get into that a little bit more, what that means. Remember, this isn't just money. Okay? Money is one of the ways. Luke chapter 21, 1 through 4. This is a big one for lots of people. It says, as Jesus looked up, he saw the rich putting their gifts into the temple treasury. He also saw a poor widow put in 2 very small copper coins. Truly I tell you, this is Jesus speaking. Truly I tell you, he says, this poor widow has put in more than all the others. All these people gave their gifts out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in all that she had to live on. Okay? This goes to talk about how it doesn't matter if you give $700 or you give $7 or you give 7 cents. Okay? God doesn't care about the amount because God can make that 7 cents 7 million if he wants. He can make that happen. He's God. He's the one who gave you the money in the first place. He's the one who gave you that job. Okay? But what he's saying is he wants your heart to want to give that. okay? And he wants your heart to trust him that he's going to provide for you back, okay? So this lady, she put in 2 very small copper coins, just 2 of them. And these other guys are putting in like hundreds of silver shekels and all this tons of money, okay? And he says that this woman that put in the 2 copper coins put in more than everybody else. He says that because of her heart. She was poor. She had no money, okay? And even though she had no money, and the 2 copper coins were probably all that she had, she put the 2 copper coins in because she knew that God would provide for her, and she knew that God was going to give her food that she needed and give her the money that she needed, okay? The people that were wealthy were putting in hundreds of coins, but they had millions of coins. So the hundreds of coins really meant nothing. It'd be like you having $100 and giving God a cent of it. Here you go, God, I gave you my offering. I still have $99.99, but I gave you my portion. Okay? That's not what God wants. Okay? If that's all you can afford to give him and the rest is for food or for surviving or anything else, cool. All right? Dylan, do you have a question? Yes, right. It was everything that she had. She gave everything and knew that God was going to provide for her. It was her faith that God loved. It was her faith knowing that God was going to give her what she needed back. Okay? What if I don't have money? Okay? How many of you have jobs in here other than with your parents? Okay. Who do you guys work for? This is child labor here, huh? You have jobs for other people that you get a paycheck from. Okay. Wow, I was not expecting this. Okay. Shh. Keep your hands raised. I'm going to ask who you work for. Okay, so you babysit dogs, all right?
My mom.
I said other than your parents. Put your hands on if it was your parents. Okay, dogs. Babysit babies. Babysit. If you're a babysitter, put your hands down. Okay? Tennis coaching. Sweet. Okay, what do you do? Nice. Man, you guys are some entrepreneurs in here. I like this. All right. It really does. Okay. Okay. Sweet. Caleb? Okay. Okay. All right. Mow lawns. Shh. Hey, girls. Shh. We listen to you guys. We listen to you. No. Nice. Okay. All right. You had a bake sale. All right, put your hands down. I heard enough. You guys can share in your groups again. I was very surprised how many of you work for money. That's awesome. All right, so some of you understand this concept then. So perfect. It even fits better with you guys. Okay? So if you don't have any money, so you guys are all rich people out there, so this is not going to apply to you guys. What are other ways we can give offerings to God besides money? Let's forget about money for a little while. Okay? What other things can we do for God? Okay? So you honor your parents? Okay? Yep. Yep. So donate food? Okay. Okay, something in the community? Give food to the homeless. Donate your time. Okay. Worship God. Teach people about God. Perfect, okay? Here's some of the list I came up with. You could give God your time. So that doesn't mean just coming to church with your time. Remember, this is outside of church. So this is, you could do stuff in the community. And I don't mean just volunteering, because that's not an offering, okay? Volunteering for God and putting God in your volunteering and teaching others about God, okay? So I'm not saying just go out and pick up garbage. That's nice of you to do that, and that's perfect. And if you can incorporate God into that, that's even better, okay? Your talents. Use your talents for God. If you are good at picking up dog poop, use that for God, okay? If you are good at mowing lawns, use that for God, okay? Use your talents. If you're good at playing an instrument, use it for God, okay? If you are good at whatever you're good at, okay, use that to God's glory. Your gifts and your talents, almost the same thing. And help, okay? The bottom one says help. Help those in need, okay? Those are things that Jesus would do. He would help those that needed him, okay? He would talk to the homeless. He would give food to the people that were hungry, all right? So help out. Those are other ways that you can give offerings to God. Aaron, you want to hit the video?
Ooh, there's the video.
Shh. We're running out of time here, so. There'll be sound. Woo!
Okay.
Hit the
very good.
escape button.
Homecoming comes once a year, and there's this competition where whoever has the biggest mum gets announced at the pep rally.
Said you have to hit escape.
It just turned into this big status thing where people were trying to outbuy each other, and I thought, what if my high school could do something with this excessive tradition to give people in the Sudan clean water? I was born to two incredible parents who have loved me very well. I have a father who makes a decent amount of money, and so I guess I have had the childhood and grown up like the world has probably said is a perfect childhood and perfect way to grow up. I step off a plane coming from a city where most of the moms drive Lexuses and most of the kids get new cars on their 16th birthday. And I step out on the plane and I see that most people are walking. We drive through the village and I see a girl bathing in the middle of the street because she doesn't have anywhere else to take a bath. And it smells bad, and there's houses that are built out of trash. I've looked at that and I've said, how can God allow such pain and such hurt and such anguish in these people? But I kind of started to look at my life and the life of my community, and I was kind of asking the question, well, what if we started asking, how could God allow us to be so distracted? What if we changed the question to how could God let us be so affluent? Yes, it's horrible that we see this poverty, but we realize that Jesus says he's in the poor. They have to rely completely and totally and wholeheartedly on Jesus, and Jesus is contentment, and everything that I have is only temporary happiness. Ever since I was born, right out of the womb, my mom and my dad have been reading me Bible stories, and they have been praying with me. And they have been so great that as I've grown up, they've backed up and said, you have to make this faith your own. I was sitting with a friend at lunch, and we were looking around at just the mums and the garters. We could totally use this tradition for something way, way cool. And we were like, what if we had somebody just donate the money they would have used to buy a mum or garter, and they bought a button and it just said I sent my mom to Africa or something. What if our white middle class high school could do something with this excessive tradition to give people into Sudan clean water. I don't think it matters whether you have a lot of money or not a lot of money. Every human being somewhere deep in their soul is looking for something more than what they see. What Jesus is to me is that ultimate thirst quencher, I guess. I mean, there's no other way to put it except that Jesus is the ultimate contentment for me. And that was what was trying to be portrayed through this project. My name is Blake Mankin, and I am second.
All right, so that is a high schooler that took money from his homecoming and turned it around, and instead of wasting all the money on other things around the city, he took that money and came up with a plan, and they donated $6,000 to another country to provide for them clean water for 10,000 people. Okay? That is not because he had lots of money. He didn't donate $6,000 himself. Okay? He came up with an idea, and he put it to practice, and he used it for God's glory. Okay? That is one person that took off his offering, okay, and he put it towards God. Okay? That's one way of doing it. All right? Aaron, will you pull up the PowerPoint quick? Got 2 more slides left, and we'll break to discussion group. You want to go to the next slide? No, I left it back there. All right, so we got just a couple minutes left here, okay? Does Jesus call Christians to give their extras or leftovers? Go to the next verse. No. In Luke chapter 21, 1 through 4, it was this Jesus story with a girl that put in 2 coins, okay? She put in all that she had. She didn't say that she had 10 extra copper coins and she said, I'll give you 2 because I'm supposed to give a portion of it. She gave everything that she had, knowing that God was going to provide for her. So God doesn't say, give me your extras. Give me the stuff that's easy. You know, if you have $100,000 and you need 90,000 of it to live, don't just give me the 10,000. That's easy for you to give. That's easy. He doesn't want us to do the easy stuff, though. He wants us to have faith that he's going to provide for us. Next verse. And then in John chapter 6, it's where the 5,000 men are on the hillside with Jesus, and everybody is hungry. And one little boy says, I have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. That's all that he had. He didn't have 6 loaves of bread and he was keeping one for himself to eat. He had 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. That's it. And he gave them to Jesus, knowing that Jesus was going to provide for him and the other 5,000 people. He didn't save it for himself. He knew that. Okay? And so he gave Jesus those 5 bread and the 2 fish. And what did Jesus do? He provided for 5,000 people enough food that they weren't even hungry anymore, that they had enough food to eat. Okay? And the envision I have, that some of you guys are already making the noise, is people were coming around with their loaves of bread, and the disciples were giving it up, and they first off started with a little piece, and they'd give it to him, and he's like, and all of a sudden the bread would go whoop, and it would grow back in his hands, and he's like, oh my goodness, God, that's awesome. And he'd go to the next guy, and he'd take a little bit bigger piece, and he'd give it to him, and he'd go back, and whoop, and he's got a whole loaf of bread again. And it would go through, and eventually they're giving him slices of bread, and it's just growing back in their hands, like whoop, 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 and all like 12 disciples are going like, God, this is crazy, okay? And every single person had enough to eat. They had fish and bread. And at the end, they collected all the extras, and there was nothing to waste. All because one little boy gave all that he had for food. He didn't give him thousands of dollars. He gave him bread and fish, everything that he had. Next one. So to wrap up, Jesus does not care about the size or what the offering is. He doesn't say anywhere in his word that it has to be a certain percentage or it has to be a certain amount. He doesn't say that. because it doesn't matter to him. It doesn't matter what the amount is, okay, or what you give or how much you give. He wants it to be in your heart, and he wants you to give knowing that God's going to provide for you. He doesn't want you to just give the easy amount or the amount that you have extra. He wants you to give everything to him, knowing that he's going to provide for you. And it's not easy, okay? It's not easy to do. He cares about your heart. He cares about your faith in him. And I promise you, if you give him that faith, he will strengthen that faith hundreds of times over and over again. And he will always provide the things that you need. Maybe not the things that you want or the cool stuff or all those other things, okay? But he will always provide you with the things that you need to survive. Okay? As we go to our discussion groups tonight, you guys will talk more about this. So let me pray, and we'll break up into our groups. Dear Jesus, we thank you for that boy on the hill that showed us what it meant to give everything that we had to serve other people, and to give everything that we had to have faith that you would provide. You provided for 5,000 people because that one little boy had faith and gave all that he had, all of his food. Lord, and we thank you for that woman, that poor woman that gave 2 copper coins, all that she had. And you said that meant so much more to you than the wealthy people putting in hundreds and thousands of dollars. Because she gave all that she had, knowing that you would provide for her. Lord, I pray that we would serve you with our gifts, our talents. Lord, that we'd serve you with our money. And Lord, that we would have faith that you would provide for us. If we can do that, Lord, Scott County will see a group of 5th and 6th graders that love God. People will look at us differently. Lord, and I pray for that faith. Pray these things in your name. Amen.